Welcome to the Simpatico Podcast, the pop culture podcast where we sit down to discuss what we're passionate about. I am your co-host, Joshua Whitson.
And I'm your other co-host, David Tavlier.
And we are back with another video. We're doing a follow-up video. Touching on the DLC and the new additions to the Evil Dead game, or Evil Dead, the game, that have come out since the video was first released. We've got a lot of new stuff, new maps, new characters. We're just going to talk about that, talk about the things we like about that, some of the new balancing issues that they've done and changed, and our thoughts and strategies for the game now that it's been out for a while, and maybe how those strategies have changed.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of stuff. What are we going to talk about first, David Tavlier?
Well, like you said, it's been a while since we made that first review. I mean, there's been two significant updates since then.
Game changers.
The first big one being there's a Castle Kandar update, which I believe we at the time even knew was probably going to be... I can't remember if we knew it was announced already, or if that was just like, surely they're going to release Castle Kandar.
Yeah, I think
I
think
they said they were.
Yeah. And they said like shortly after we recorded it, but everyone kind of like knew already.
Yeah. That came with a couple things, no new characters, but we're going to cover that. We're also going to cover, even more recently, that just came out a little over a week ago, the Mia and David update from the 2013 Evil Dead.
Yes. Which
I know we were both, those were two characters we were anxious to see, and I was very surprised, actually, that they made it in the game. I don't know why, but like I feel like I was afraid they were going to be left by the wayside or forgotten.
Yeah, that was my fear as well. I had a feeling that they would put them in there just because, like we talked about in the first review, that there's so much like detail and like love for the Evil Dead franchise like went into this. And the 2013 movie, for being a remake of a beloved franchise, like it was pretty well received. Mm-hmm. So I had a feeling that they would, but I was surprised that they did it like that was the first like big DLC, big like character additions were from the 2013 movie.
Yeah, and that also came with a new demon, which weirdly enough is not from the 2013 remake, but from Army of Darkness. So there was a little bit of a crossover there. I was wondering if there was like some sort of delay and the Plaguebringer was supposed to come out with Castle Kandar, maybe. It would have made more sense to me. Yeah,
I have the feeling that is the case because it just makes sense for those two to come out.
It's together. Weird for them to come out the same. But so we're going to talk about those two and some other things. How we like you said, how we feel about the game now, what's different since when it came out. We won't go through all the... I'll put a link in the description with all the patch notes with both updates because we're not going to go over all of them. There's a lot of stuff that they did. There's a lot of stuff that has been changed, tweaked, and things like that. But
little nuts and bolts things that we...
Yeah, but we'll talk a little broadly about it and things we've noticed. So first off, Castle Kandar.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's from the movie Army of Darkness, and came out with a new map. You like the new map?
I do like the new map, because, I mean, really, at this point, we still only have 3 maps. Castle Kandar and the 2 original maps.
Yeah.
And it does add a nice variety to the game. It's a very different setting. It's a lot more like desert setting, a lot flatter. Obviously set in medieval times. Yeah, it's a lot more open.
There's like not really any trees around. It's, all a big open area.
Especially the Nobi cabin map has a lot of like gullies and like rocks that you can kind of like get stuck between and like have to go backwards and kind of which makes it difficult for the survivors and the demon. And the Castle Kandar map is I think they're all about as equal in size.
I assume it feels like the Castle Kandar map is smaller.
I think the reason it feels that way is because it is more like distinctly like a T shape. Like there's a section that goes like up and down that map that like from the graveyard to the like Pox Pond. And then there's sort of like the windmill and then the castle itself towards the top. So it is sort of like a T shape. So it seems smaller, but there is a lot of space still like on all those sides. I don't know. It's just a very for me playing as demon on the castle. Well, we'll just get right into it. We'll just start talking about the Castle Kandar. for me as Demon, playing on the Castle Kandar map is easier just because it seems like there's only 3 places that the survivors spawn into.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Like, there's more places on the map. I mean, there's equal, little areas on the map, but it seems like you only start either in the near the cemetery, near the windmill, or near the castle. And as a Demon, that's just where I start off. I just zip around and like go to those places and then try to find.
And maybe I'm wrong, but it does feel like you only need to go so far in that direction too to find where the survivors are at.
Oh yeah,
that's why I thought it felt small, because it feels like you either go one of 3 ways, and then you'll get close enough to where they are. Even if you don't go right where they spawn, you're gonna get close enough to where they spawn.
Well, yeah, because as the Demon, I think you have to be once you're within like 100 meters or something, it'll say that the survivors are close. You won't see their outlines yet, but so once you're within like 100 meters of the castle, if it doesn't say that, then they're not there, and you just like zip over to the next spot. And again, it's much more open and much more flat, and doesn't have like those gullies and like obstacles to like move around. So as the Demon, like you can really, it feels like you can find the survivors a lot easier, which I think is fine overall.
Sure.
It just makes it you just have different strategies on different maps, and I think that's good. I think that keeps it interesting and fresh. And like if you're playing in the Castle Kandar map, you need to know like keep your ass moving.
Yeah. And something that came out with this update, by the way, this came out on July 13th, so it's been a little while now we had it. But they came out with an exploration mode, a new mode where you can, which is awesome, where you can just go on, which I need to do, because I know most of the map, but it's Castle Kandar itself that I feel like I always get lost in, and it's because there's a ton of tunnels and hallways and towers. Like there's like a bunch of towers you can go, like literally walk all the way up to the very top to get a crate.
Eight flights of stairs you can like go up. They're tall.
And then to get back down can be tough sometimes. And if you're the Demon, you can like really screw people and trap them in the halls of hell.
Yeah.
It's what it feels like.
The thing that I do like about the Castle Kandar map, the castle itself and the like ancillary places like elsewhere on the map, like the Fort Gort, and there's another tower like that. But it makes it worth your while as a survivor to go up those towers, because they have like the special like treasure chests up there, which I think the Castle Kandar map is the only one that has that, where they have like you have the regular chests that you encounter as a survivor that you get like the pink Fs and the weapons and stuff, but then at the top of the towers they have like treasure chests, and they're like green, and they give you shemps and amulets, as well as like pink F and weapons.
Good weapons. Too.
It makes it's interesting because it makes it worth your while, but also then you get trapped up there with the Demon, then you get screwed. And
we had talked about wanting this map, and like if they're going to have the pit. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs from the movie. So obviously you have the windmill, you have Castle Kandar. Everything's from the movie. Mostly everything's from the movie. The castle itself, I really like just how big they went with it. It is huge.
Oh,
It's like an actual castle. And so we talked about how like the pit is closed off, but like you can go up to it and you can hear like noises underneath. And I think that's good enough. But you can't go in the basement in the Novi cabin.
Yeah, that's like, what I was just gonna say. It's just space. It's like that. It's there.
Well, you go in. You basically go in. It's in the 5th solo mode anyway.
Yeah, well, and I think that's part of the reason that we knew that the map was coming, because that was sort of like a teaser in the Arthur mission. But I was kind of not disappointed, but I guess I was surprised that part wasn't in the map, because it's already like been like rendered for that. It could
be it could be a horrible death trap though.
That's the thing too.
Fall in there and
I'm sure they probably either tested it or played around with the idea, but then figured like, well, you're just gonna get killed.
Same with the basement in the Novi cabin, I imagine. Like if you go, there's one way in, you can get just fine.
Because even in the regular map, you'll notice too, the houses that do have basements usually have a door leading out from the basement.
It's a great map, and I really like it. And I'm always happy when I get it. It's all I could ever want. We talked about how the cars. We weren't sure if there were even going to be cars on the map.
I liked how that works out.
They look all decked out, like kind of Ash does to his car in Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And
they fall out of the sky.
Yeah, if you haven't played it, they're not just sitting there like the regular maps on the Kandar map. They fall out of the sky as you like approach them, so it's more in continuity with the movies.
Yeah,
which is unnecessary but great.
With that map, we also got two new weapons: a mace and an explosive crossbow.
Yeah, how do you feel about those?
I like the mace. It's definitely a heavy weapon, so it does a lot of damage, but it takes a long time to swing.
Yeah.
So if you're into that, it's kind of like the hammer. It's a little bit like the hammer, the big sledgehammer. Explosive crossbow, it can be fun. I think I don't use it a lot. Maybe because I think it's like the single shot. It's kind of like a single shot, so it's like you shoot once and you got to reload. Yeah. But it does do some fun explosive damage, which can be fun. That is useful. Yeah. No, I'm about the same way. I typically don't use the mace unless I find like a good one, just because it is a little slower and it doesn't do as much damage as like the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer I typically does like 90 for like the basic one, and then the mace I think is like 60. So you just it's a little faster, but again I'd rather just hit it harder if I'm gonna go slower. And then the explosive crossbow is fun, just because it's unlike the crossbow. You can kind of just hit nearby and still like do some explosive damage without trying to like having to be as accurate. Yeah, we also got some new outfits for. We actually got one for the demon, which is like a gilded attire. It's labeled, just like a gold armor, not from anything as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
this is from a comic or something, but
and that's really the first indication that they're kind of just gonna go wild with the costumes and stuff and just kind of do whatever they want. Because there were some things that you could do with like Evil Ash and stuff, but this it was just completely out of left field. Well, it's like the fireman like thing with Henrietta and her, like it just doesn't.
I'm fine with that. I like just making up stuff. I don't care.
Yeah,
but we did get Arthur did get his outfit. Lord Arthur got his like interim outfit from I guess you could call it maybe his party outfit or his relaxing outfit or whatever. He's just got his hair down.
His Ewok celebration outfit.
It's labeled as battle prep, but whatever.
Yeah.
But then Henry the Red got one too, but that's right. It's not from anything. It's just like a Scottish vibe. It's like sort of
Scottish casual.
Scottish casual.
But I actually like the addition of Arthur's outfit, because if with that DLC, Arthur just became unlocked to people that didn't have him before. If you got the DLC, but you had the party Arthur. But if you still go through the missions and beat that mission, which is a pain in the ass, and I worked real hard on that fucking mission, you still get the full armor Arthur, and you can't get that unless you beat that mission. So that's I was a little peeved at first when it just kind of unlocked Arthur to everybody, but then you still have to work to get that armored costume. So it's satisfying.
It's fair. And then they made it so you can customize screamers if you want, which is a fun little thing. And that was the bulk of that update, and that was really fun. So fast forward to September 8th, the Mia and David update plus the Plaguebringer.
Yes.
We got 2 new survivors, Mia and David from Evil Dead 2013 remake. We also got a new demon in the Plaguebringer, like we mentioned. There's a new weather effect where it now rains blood sometimes, which is great. Have you seen that?
Now, I saw in their like promotion for the DLC, they're like, let it rain blood and stuff, and it's obviously like a reference to the 2013 movie at the end there, where it's like literally raining blood. But I didn't realize until you mentioned it before this episode that was an actual like weather effect in the game. Have you seen it? I have not seen it.
You may not even notice it if you're not really paying attention. They basically just kind of like, it's not like pure red, like where like if it actually rained blood, everything would just be fucking red.
Well, yeah.
It's like they put enough red in it, so it's like, it's raining blood.
Well, I'll have to pay attention next time. I may have seen it and then just may not have. That's great.
Also came out two new weapons: the syringe and the nail gun. So there's 2 new weapons there. Really random.
Goes with the 2013 movie.
It does,
Used in the movie.
And we got the a new solo mission, which is exciting.
Yes.
Have you played that and beaten it yet?
I've done it twice. I have not beaten it yet, but I will go back soon because I want to finish it. What were the rewards for beating that?
So the rewards were okay. I liked the fact that you got like characters for being the solo missions. I know that was a point of contention amongst some people because they figured the missions were too hard, which I understand. But they were basically just new screamers. So like,
that's right.
Yeah, the Plaguebringer has 2, so you unlock one of those. Actually, there's a really funny Army Darkness one where his like Army Darkness Ash, where his screamer is like his long face.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
That's worth it right there. I might have to do it.
Yeah, and then there's a Evil Dead 2 one, I believe. They also, I did not realize this because I'd already beaten them, but apparently now the missions can be played without following the numeric order. So you can play them out of order if you want.
Oh, in any... Well, that kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah. If you wanted to start with Arthur or something.
It's not going to make anything more easy, but...
Yeah, no, because those are still difficult. And it kind of makes sense because you unlock the sequential, like, recordings of the Nobi, like, recordings and stuff, and kind of, like, tells the story. And
they fixed the, last thing, they fixed the map selection and exploration mode. So when we talked about that map exploration mode, that exploration mode they released with the Kandar DLC, but they hadn't made it so you could pick the map. Which was
cool. So you just had to keep going in and hoping you got the map you wanted to explore.
Yeah, so it seems like a weird thing to not notice, but they changed that. So that was the bulk of that updates. What do you think of the syringe and the nail gun? Well,
let's talk about or
the characters. You want to talk about the characters?
Let's talk about the characters first.
Sure.
Let's start with the Plaguebringer because that affects everybody. You know, as a demon. As a demon, you affect everybody. What do you think of the Plaguebringer? What were your initial thoughts? And how much have you played as Plaguebringer so far?
So it's actually took me a while to play as her because like when the update came out, I poured all my points into me and David. I didn't have a ton saved up anyway, so I find it really... I'm not that great a demon player. I do like it, but like it's already hard enough when I have a demon that's like all the way upgraded. So yeah, I didn't want to... It was hard to like play with her when she has like none of her tree updated. So I kind of gave it some time and waited it out and saved up some points too. So I've been playing as her a lot lately, and I like her a lot. I noticed playing against her as a survivor, she seemed really, really, really powerful. Like, just was getting wrecked. Like, I think I still do. Like, just it was very rare to win against her.
Yeah. Well, and I think initially everybody was a little getting used to exactly what. I mean, it's anytime you add something new, you gotta like learn what it does and like what the strategy and stuff is. But yeah, she was out of the gate. She was pretty tough.
Yeah, and I'm still figuring out. Like, I'm still kind of trying to get a handle on like her abilities. So, for instance, her the blight. There's certain attacks she has that like if people have blight, that they like will take more health and shield damage. Because one of her attacks is it's called Potion Pitcher, and she basically she throws 2 potions with blight. Her third ability is Blight Booster, and this increases the speed at which the demon gains infernal energy when the survivor is infected with blight. Your first unlockable, the first of the 4, the witch places her cauldron on the ground. Evil units within the cauldron's aura take reduced bounce bar damage and have a reduced infernal energy cost for using abilities. Survivors within the cauldron's aura receive less healing from items and abilities. The cauldron slows you down when you throw that down, and the pit demon, when the pit demon dies, I notice leaves like a puddle.
Yeah, there'll be a puddle on the ground.
It's like the cauldron stuff. In the description of the elite, it says when the pit demon dies, its body liquefies through a toxic puddle that temporarily prevents survivors from dodging it.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I've noticed that like it creates that same green goo that the cauldron does.
The thing with her is she's very fast. She's faster than Henrietta and Evil Ash.
Well, probably. I mean, is she though? I mean, she floats, and I've noticed.
She's faster. She's definitely faster than Henrietta because Henrietta floats, but she like doesn't move. In this, like
I just noticed, like when I first played as her, I expected her to be faster, but I did notice you can still like survivors can still get to her quickly if they.
Yeah.
If they.
Well, and I think.
Enough. I thought she was going to be way faster, but you are right. I think she is faster.
Well, and she uses... I think she's definitely faster than... She's probably the fastest of the demon-like bosses. because Elagos is like hard because he like turns invisible, but I don't think he's even necessarily as fast as she is. But I think it seems to me like the idea of the Plaguebringer was to give survivors more of a reason to use ranged weapons, and like allow people who enjoy using the ranged weapons and have like mastered the ranged weapons to be more useful in battles against like the boss demons, because she has ranged attacks. She, like you said, throws the potions. She does her shout that like attacks people. She shoots like magic. And she's a little, like we said, faster and like moving around a lot, so she can kind of like back away. And so I think that gives you the ranged survivors a little more like oomph to kind of make use of their weapons, their skills, and stuff like that. Because it seems like a lot of the demons, even Elagos, the main objective is if they show up, just if everybody gathers around them and just like beats the hell out of them, you'll take care of them.
And this goes into like how you play the game and how to properly play as survivor, at least. Because what I noticed playing against her, I was like, man, her range attack is so accurate, so hard to avoid. But when I played as her, I did realize how it's not like 100% like you just throw it and it hits everyone. Like you do have to be precise and you have to aim correctly. And watching other people while playing as a demon, playing as her, like dodge, made me realize like, oh, if I just learn to dodge better. And this is something I think the solo missions teach you very well, and I think a lot of people don't do enough. And something certainly I sometimes forget about, but you got to learn how to like dodge. Like you can't just go in and just hit. You have to learn how to jump out of the way of attacks when you can, and that's the key to winning those solo missions. Like you conserve your health. You gotta jump out of the way.
Every hit counts in those solo missions.
So I think that goes into when you're going against her. If she's gonna like throw stuff at you from a distance, you can jump out of the way of them and avoid her attacks that way.
Well, I think that's also the beauty of like the different demons, is that they each have their own play style, and they each have their own like ways that you have to like go about like battling against them. But it also, as the survivors, it gives you you have to change how you like spend your pink F points, and like what categories you're going to put your points into first, because stamina with the Plaguebringer is very important, which typically that's like the last one. I mean, not it depends what you're doing, but or what character you have, but with her you want to make sure you have stamina again to dodge and get out of the way of that stuff.
And I don't know, so her how she works too is like once you down her, she actually has like a second life, if you will, where her she basically, you down her, but then she's like reanimated. She does have lower health though, but she also is immune to bounce bar damage. So she comes back, but is slightly different in her defense, and her abilities have no infernal energy cost. So in a way she is stronger, but her health is lower, so you can defeat her faster. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's got a fun scream, and she just yells. I enjoy that. It's simple, but
and just before we move on to the other kid, but it's funny that she's even a demon in this, because she's based on the character in Army of Darkness, who's in the movie, but like briefly as like a joke of just like the demon like possessing this witch and like turning around and like and then just Ash just like pulls out a gun and just like shoots her out of the window. And that's like the end of the scene. But it's just funny to me that all these new mechanics and like this like super powerful demon is now just this.
I like that though, because
no, I do too. It's funny.
She's got this whole like they had this whole like kind of poisonous kind of witchy poisonous kind of persona to her, which I think is fun.
Yeah. Well, I think again, and honestly, I think that went into the creation of the character and why they made her more of a, if you want to get her, shoot her, like sort of character, because that's how they got her in the movie.
Yeah, I like her. I like the pit demons. I feel like it's hard to fight with. I'm not super good with him.
Yeah.
Yet. He's got a weird like run thing where you just like charge forward and like it goes indefinitely until you press X again. he just also stomps the ground and splashes muck.
Yeah.
So that's fun. And the prisoner skeletons are, again, like I said, the skeletons are always fun.
They got like a little
prisoner skeletons, so they're supposed to be from the pit.
Yeah.
They got a great the best, to me, the best ability it has is to spin around with a sword.
Little helicopter
spin attack,
spin.
It's great when you're like being bombarded by all 4 survivors, from all sides, and you just need to lay out a bunch of damage. Got a jump pierce, double pierce where he lunges and pierces, and he's got a dodge function, which is like an ability, so it's
that's nice.
Not always there. But yeah, I'm a fan of the Plaguebringer. I've been enjoying playing as her, and she's hard to go against. I feel like they're gonna nerf her because she does seem really strong, even though I don't feel overly strong with her. Maybe this.
Well, and we've said that before. Like, it doesn't matter like what you're playing. You always feel like you're terrible.
Well, yeah, and it depends on how you. It must be something you're true the way you like everything in this game.
Oh yeah,
how you upgrade them and
yeah.
So Mia and David.
Let's talk about David first.
All right, David first.
Yeah.
So he is a support character. Got a new support. He's good with a nail gun, so they introduced that nail gun. So
the nail gun specialty.
Yeah, it's his third unlock, weapon mastery. He's got an ability where he lays down a flame that it doesn't reduce your fear really fast like a normal fire does, but it takes more energy, infernal energy, to possess people if they are afraid. In the vicinity of
it takes more energy to possess them, and I think does it take more infernal energy to possess like basic units and stuff too, like.
I'm not sure. It just says an increased amount of infernal energy to possess, so I don't know if that's individual people or if it's also elites and basics.
Yeah,
maybe, probably.
I believe so.
He's got if he drinks a Shemps now, I don't know, like we said, supports, they do gain that health from when the support drinks something, drinks a Shemps or using name it. But his also makes it so you take less damage for a limited amount of time.
Yes, that is nice. And that's something, again, I think we just need to touch on. If you're playing a support, just remember that when you drink your Shemps and you use your amulets, that affects your team as well.
And, that's the nuts and bolts of him, basically.
I mean, his flame is cool, and it's helpful in a pinch, but I found it's most useful when you, if somebody's already lights a fire, like a lantern or a campfire or whatever, for him to like lay down his fire also, like in conjunction with that other fire, because it reduces the fear like even faster and prevents the demon from like immediately, or it hinders the demon from possessing people. Because that's one thing, especially I do that as a demon a lot, is if someone's going towards a fire and they're like on the verge.
Common tactic,
yeah. And, prevent them from, like, possessing the other nearby units and stuff like that, too. And also it's useful at the objectives, which I see a lot of people use it, which, I mean, that's obviously what its goal is. At the objectives, it reduces fear, but also then makes it more difficult for the demon to possess units. It is good. But, from what I've played with David, I like him. I don't think he's my favorite character. I don't think he's my favorite support character, but I do need to give him more time.
I mean, it's tough. He's up against 3 really good supports. Yeah, and I think the big, what everyone was most excited for was Mia. Mia is a warrior.
Let's talk about Mia.
Yes. I think she's great. I mean, it's pretty big. She's really strong. She's a warrior. Warriors are just, powerhouse soldiers, and she's no different. What do you think of her ability? I like it because it plays into the movie a little bit, where she can't be possessed if her fear goes through the roof, but like her fear raises, but then she's not able to be possessed.
I like that. It's one of those that you have to remember to use, because you'll be like in mid battle, and I mean it is very useful, because it doesn't last. It's not like it doesn't have a long time on it, but like especially again at the objectives, I think is probably when it's best, when you're trying to stay within that area. You don't want to like attack your teammates and stuff. Good time to use it. If you get stuck on your own at some point, like that's another good time. So kind of like at least the demon won't be able to possess you and like run you in the opposite direction and stuff like that. It is good. And I haven't noticed. I know we talked a little bit about how that might be problematic. That ability might be problematic as a demon player, and like might annoy a lot of demon players like to no end. But it doesn't seem like it's that, like, it doesn't seem like it breaks the game or like breaks the mechanic. No. Again, you have to like make sure you use it. You have to remember to like use it. And when you're in the heat of battle, like, it's not always. It doesn't seem like it's. Yeah. No,
I don't. I haven't. Useful. No, I haven't seen it be that. In fact, I've still seen. I personally have used it and it's worked out well. But then when it's done, so when it deactivates, your fear does go down, but only in conjunction with how many units you kill while using that ability. So if you don't kill anything, it's not going to really go down. So then you're open to be possessed.
So I think it's well balanced. I think it's a good ability. Fits the character. Obviously, in the movie, she was possessed. They kind of did a fake out in the movie, and then she becomes unpossessed, and then is the like hero of the film.
Well, maybe more to what you're saying is, so Charlotte, her second ability, her second tier unlock is that she gets stronger as she gets more scared as well. So
yes,
fear threshold goes up. She does get stronger.
And her machete weapon specialty is interesting too, because she seems to be like more focused on like the quick attacks and for the warriors. And it's just it's very useful, and she can be very devastating, especially when you get that all of her things unlocked. She gets the stronger as she gets more fearful. She's got a machete, and she's just like hacking like nonstop, and that can be real devastating for demon players.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's overall very strong. She can cause a lot of bleeding too with Blood Rain, her third tier unlocked. Yeah, she's just really strong, and obviously if you like playing warrior, she's a good selection, I feel. And yeah, I like her. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I like her a lot too. I was very impressed. I'm glad that they gave her, her due and like made her a good character, because she's great in the movie. I love her character in general. Anyway, I love that movie in general. And I think they did a good job with these first two.
Agreed.
Faux show.
So
let's talk about the weapons real quick.
Yeah, the weapons. I like that. I see a lot of people hating on the syringes. If you can get a good syringe, like a rare one or better, I think it can be fun, because they're very fast. It's a lot like the knife. It's very quick. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's quick, and you can, I don't know, I think it can be fun. Obviously taken from the movie when he has to resurrect Mia with like a syringe connected to a car battery.
Yeah, but I like the syringes, and you and I have both talked. We've gotten in matches like the rare syringes, the purple ones.
Yeah,
and like they can be devastating. Again, they do a lot of balance bar damage and hit quick, and they can be good.
Yeah, and then the nail gun, it's just kind of like it's similar to the saw gun. It feels like nothing too special, but
Yeah, again, if you get a good one, then you can really do some damage. It seems like it's a step between. I tried to look up the damage and like the firing rate. I don't remember, but it feels like it's between, not quite to where the pistol is, where it is like that fast. At a little faster than like the saw gun, but not as much damage. So it's good, and it's again, if you can hit it, enough, you can really do some stopping power. And it seems like it's something that's good for like the Plaguebringer and stuff like that. And we didn't mention, speaking of the Plaguebringer real quick and shooting guns, we didn't mention with the Cauldron that also does damage. Like you can like break it as a survivor and like end the Cauldron, but it like does damage when it breaks. So if you can shoot it from a distance, that's a better way to do it to prevent injuring yourself or like getting your.
It's a time waster too if you're the demon.
Yeah, it's a good distraction. Anyway,
I mean, is there anything else about that chapter before we move on to?
Did you want to talk about any of the patch notes, balancing issues, anything that's changed? That was there anything that caught your eye about that stuff?
I've seen a lot of people complain that they buffed the demons in this last patch. To me, playing as demon, I don't know. I go both ways. Like we said, the Plaguebringer is very strong. To me, one big noticeable thing that hasn't been addressed, I don't know if they're going to, is I feel like I've had a lot of games where with Elagos, the possessed basics are like insanely strong. The amount of matches I've had with like 2 minutes into the game being found by Elagos, and even when you're with all 4 survivors, just like trying to kill it, and it's just like damn near invincible.
I do feel like a lot of the demons did need a little something. Oh, really? Personally, I felt like they needed a little more buff for the boss units. And, I can't tell you how many times as Elagos I've like caught a survivor by themselves, had it like leveled up, spawned in as Elagos himself, like chased them through the woods, hit them like with all my powers, and a single survivor and pretty high level of Elagos, and just had not been able to kill them. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason that the boss demon shouldn't be able to just kill a lone survivor chasing him down in the woods. And I don't know how you would necessarily buff that so that they're not unstoppable. I don't think they should be too powerful, obviously, but definitely Elagos, I think the demon himself needs some buffs.
They have, in this last patch, buffed. They've at least buffed the health in a lot of the boss units of the demons a little bit. Again, there's a lot of stuff they've done in here, so I can't go through them all, but
go through it all.
They've also done some work on the cars too. There was some a lot of people for a while. There was the strategy survivors would use, where they would bring the cars to the book at the end, the demons, and block off the book.
Oh yeah,
and things like that. But now they've made it so demons can break those cars. They have health now, even when they're not.
And they reduced. We didn't mention this too, but they reduced the amount of cars on the maps, which I think makes sense. I think they should be more. I mean, there's still a lot of them, but it's not every 5 feet where there's a car where you can escape, and it's just.
They've also added more infernal energy on the old maps for bosses, for demons, which I think
that was definitely important.
Yeah,
because there'd be a lot of matches where I'd be floating around and they're all there, but I just can't find any orbs to do anything, or the opportunities were missed because there's just literally nothing around.
But they also, going back to your fighting survivors, one thing I did notice playing as demon, it's something I think I've been sleeping on a little bit. In the warrior class, there's the upgrade you can do that basically raises your defense when your health drops below a certain threshold. Because I was having a lot of demon matches where I would just be I'd fight a survivor, I would knock out a bunch of their health. I'm good, I'm about to finish them off, and they'll keep going, but then they just wouldn't die, and I'm just what is going on? Why is it taking so long for them to get killed? It just seems like once it drops, I think if you buff that out, I think I need to go back and kind of rework some of my warriors, because I do feel like that is something that can really throw off the demon. I think it's more effective than I thought it would have. How do you feel about the game now, and how it's changed, and what do you hope in the future? And what do you hope drops, and where do you want to see?
Well, I like what they've done. I like. I really have no complaints about anything that's been added. I am still enjoying the game.
They've never touched that range. You had a problem with that range thing?
Well, I've kind of gotten used to it, and it still is an issue. And I still, nobody else really. I don't really hear people complaining about it, so I guess it's just me playing the game wrong.
I complained a lot about in the review about environmental stuff, steps and things, but I think that's another thing I'm kind of used to now. There's only a certain couple cases where that really can get annoying.
Yeah, and you as you play, you realize what you can run over and what you have to run around, and areas on the map oh, this is a death trap if I the boardwalk on that one thing that annoys me a lot, because there's one spot where you can kind of climb over it. But now that you know where it is, you just kind of deal with it. But yeah, I'm very happy with what they've done. I'm very happy that the DLC that's come out has maintained that level of love and detail, and I look forward to whatever they come out with next. And how about you?
Like I said, since when the game first came out, and our first thoughts, going back and briefly touching on what we were talking about, the difficulty of demons. You mentioned you wanted them buffed, and I probably would have been way against it a while ago, but I was getting really annoyed with the game for a while, because it just seemed like you couldn't get very far into the match before being found by the demon and just being slaughtered by the demon real quick with basics. I still think it's not as fun. I like when sort of you and the demon kind of progress at the same time through the game and don't have... But there's also a part of me that kind of likes the difficulty of that and having to play as a team. I think that's part of it, because it is a team game when you're survivors. So it's I don't know. I've lightened up on my opinion on that. I kind of now I take it as a challenge, and I think it's kind of fun. It fits the mood of the game too. I mean, your demon's fucking attacking you, and you gotta like try to survive. It's a survive. You know, you're trying to survive. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm less angry about that whole thing. Yeah, and then playing as demon, you realize it is still can be hard. You can still do really well as a survivor. So with this last DLC, we got the Plaguebringer, which doesn't really match the 2013 characters, because I was kind of hoping we get the demon from the remake as the demon, that Mia looking monster. I'm hoping we still do. That would be cool. I feel like we're gonna get Ruby Nobi. I think even they've been confirmed to have like metadata in the game or something that people have found, or data mined out of the game. But I wouldn't be surprised to get them. New maps. I don't even care if they create a new map. I think I mentioned before, I thought it'd be cool if they do like a post-apocalyptic map.
I think that's a great idea.
To play into the ending of the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show and kind of the director's cut of Army of Darkness.
Yeah,
and obviously, I mean, without a doubt, when come next May, we're probably going to get a Evil Dead Rise DLC.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm very excited to see. I'm sure there's no reason they wouldn't just immediately come out with something for that, but I hope they tie it in. I hope they make it a big deal and like sort of promote the movie through the game and stuff, and kind of have new content. And I would love to see a Jacksonville map, like an urban city map.
I'm wondering if we're gonna get a new game mode. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like,
I was thinking about that. Somebody else had said
horde mode or something.
Yeah, somebody else had said well, maybe we could get. I mean, the exploration mode is kind of a different mode. It's like a solo mode. Because it is exploration, but there are basic demons units, and all the demons, all the boss units are on the map somewhere. You can find them and fight them. But that is again just solo. But yeah, someone else had mentioned a different kind of game mode, and I'm of two minds. Yeah, it would be cool. But I also look again to Dead by Daylight, and it's had the same game mode forever. I think it's more important to keep adding maps, keep adding different ways to change up the way you fight, gameplay, the way you fight, the way you avoid the demon and stuff. I think that's more important than different game modes necessarily. But yeah, I mean, you could do a horde mode. I think it might be fun to do a huge map or something with two demon players on it. That would be fun.
Oh god, that'd be chaos.
I would, because I've always wanted to see that with Dead by Daylight. Just have
2 killers and 8 survivors.
8 survivors, 2 kills. Who cares? Just make it fun and crazy, whatever. But I don't know. I would like to see that, but again, I would rather just see them continually sort of evolve how that you play the mode that we have.
I agree wholeheartedly.
If they do add, when they add Ruby, they definitely will. I definitely predict that they will have. She will be one version of her will be a survivor, and then they'll have another version of her as a demon too. That's my guess. Because in the show there are two. There's a past and a present version.
Although I do think we're gonna get Ball from season 2 of
that's true too.
Dead, so I do have a feeling they'll release him probably with Ruby.
Yeah,
would be. But
that's true.
I don't know. Who knows?
We'll see. And I don't know how you would incorporate it, but I would love to see that giant demon at the end of Ash.
Well, if they did a map of Ash's hometown, which is another map I was thinking about.
That's true.
You could maybe have him off in the distance.
He doesn't really affect anything, but
he's part of the post-apocalyptic map. You could just see that giant demon in the background. But maybe some more Army Dark stuff. They could release
Sheila, the blacksmith. Everybody was talking about getting the blacksmith on there. Well, and I would love to see more of the characters from the 2013 movie. We mentioned that you could have a demon, but there's at least 3 other characters from that movie they could have in there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's characters from the main Evil Dead movies we could get in.
They could release
I think,
yeah. I mean, they could release Linda's in the game as a voice, but like they could even release her as a character, or Shelly, or
why
something.
not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
why the fuck not?
I'm all for it.
Oh, Bobby Joe and Jake.
Well, yeah, because you got Jake's Gas and Go there, because he's in the
Oh, yeah. I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
There it is. I didn't really even realize it either until you just said that. But yeah, and there's so many cool things. You could have little abilities and just really play with them and just go crazy. Especially some of the smaller characters that, I mean, just like the Plaguebringer. Like, she was in it as a joke for like 2 seconds, but you can do whatever you want with her. Like, you can, with these characters, they're not in it that long, just go crazy. It's like old Ed Gedley. He's one of the best hunters in the game, but he's only in the movie for like 3 seconds.
I actually like him too. I've been playing this. I had played this more since the last time we had done this review, and I like his ability a lot. They've apparently nerfed him a little bit, but I think he's pretty dope.
He'll be
also
back.
they could also do Ash's father if they wanted to.
Oh Christ, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, there's so many characters.
But who knows? Anyway, anything else you need to add?
No, I think we've talked about it. There's going to be a lot of new stuff, going forward. They're going to continually buff and change things. So, there's all kinds of little things that you can work through, try different stuff. So, I'm loving the game. I've been playing nonstop, and I love all the new DLC.
Me too. Well,
great.
If there's nothing else to talk about for now, then we'll be back. But for now, I think it's time for us to leave.
And so it is.